Now, for any of you that have been here, or maybe this is your first time in here, this is an open Q&A session. So this essentially is more or less for you guys to ask questions on how to. It can be website related, CRM related, lead related, the how do I do this, that sort of thing. There is no question that goes or is asked that isn't going to benefit most people that are watching this, because often enough they are questions that others may have had in the past or currently have. Now you can use the chat that's in here. You can also use the Q&A section there. If you feel like your question is better asked verbally, it's just easier to kind of get it across if you ask it that way, just raise your hand and we can go about that way. So, as you guys dump in those questions, I will do my best to answer them for you in here. So typically what I like to do is kind of start something off just to kind of get the ball rolling. Again, if any of you guys have any immediate questions and you're trying to figure out how to do something or want to learn how to do something, again, just pop it in the chat or raise your hand, that sort of thing. So in the past, we have gone over various aspects when it comes to emails and things like that. We do have, and you have the ability, and one of the things that a lot of people aren't aware of is that ability to edit your listings email. Okay, so this is the email that goes out with all the listings. So you do have that ability to add branding to these listings. So when you go into, again, we're going into the settings, into the email section, you're going to the listings portion. Now, if you're a solo agent, this is your system, you can create a company template. The company template just means that this is the template that goes out regardless of who that lead is assigned to. So if you're a team, for example, and you have agents below you, this is now editing all of their listing emails. Now, you can also create your own template. So if you want to modify your own, maybe each team member, for example, the banner signifies the team, but has maybe their picture on it versus a team picture, or even the footer where they may be adding information about themselves. For this sake, I'm just going to go in and edit the company filter. Now, when you are in here, if you are a board or have access to sold listings, so if the board that you're a member of has that, you do have the ability to edit both of those emails. So you can kind of differentiate the two as well. So if you wanted them to stand out differently, you can definitely do that. Now, with respect to all of this, is the email subject. Okay, so the email subject here, you can edit this, so you can change what it says. Now this here is a short code that's actually pulling the save search name. Okay, so I'm going to step out of here for just 1 second to show you what that means. So you want to leave this in here, but you can be creative with the portion, either if you're putting it before or after this. So anytime, and again, stepping out, anytime we are sending listings or have a listing search created, you have the title of the search here, and that's what that short code is pulling. Okay, so whether you're adding a new search or you're editing an existing one, changing this right here is when, detached homes under, whatever price point, for example. In that email, that custom email going out, it'll have that little blurb there, this exact whatever you put here, and perhaps anything that you may add to it after or before. So again, if we go into the listings here and we go back into edit that save search name is going right here, right? So you can kind of get creative, make those emails stand out to encourage the click in their inbox. They're kind of different and unique. Now down below here, this one has already been edited, okay? So when you guys open this up, generally on your screen, for example, you're gonna see like the daily, it's just a plain background with a little kind of icon kind of thing, and like it says some fresh new listings. You're gonna see that there. Now, if you wanna add the custom banner, similar to how we have this image here, when we click on, we don't even have to click on the image. We're going to go into the source code. Okay, so the source code is really pulling all the script of what's presented there. So if we want this image, for example, to remove or whatever is pre-existing, we're just going to delete that and then we're going to save it. So now it's a blank canvas, as you can see. When we want to upload our image, we're just going upload right into here. And you would choose any image that you have. And for this sake, I'm just going to I'll use one of the slides that we have on here. I'm just going to grab this one. And my little thing is in the way, so we're going to push that there. It should upload. There we go. So now the image is there. Now the images that we're putting up here are the dimensions of 650 by 140 pixels. Okay, so if you're creating a custom banner, or you have somebody that's creating one for you, just know that those are the dimensions that the image needs to be in order for this to fit properly. You can right-click the image to change those properties. You can constrain the proportions, but we can, add this, 650, by 140. And go, okay. So it's just going to resize that image. Now, once we have anything in here, we do have the ability to preview. So now that we've done that, we can go preview. And we can preview exactly what that listing email is now going to look like. So we can see that down below here, we now see that this is the new image on the listings email that would go out. Now, similar to being able to create that header on here, it doesn't have to be an image. You can have text. You can throw whatever you want in here, essentially. But you also have the ability to edit the footer as well, right? So we can edit the footer of those listing emails. So whether perhaps you have your own, unique signature that you want to throw in here, when you do come into this portion originally, you're going to see the short codes, so the things in brackets. So agent first name, agent last name, agent email, phone, that sort of thing. Okay, so that goes kind of on the footer. If you want to override that, then again, you can do the same thing. Maybe you have a nice little image. Maybe you want that banner, to kind of sandwich the listings, top and bottom. You can do the exact same thing. The bottom here is a little bit more forgiving than the header when it comes to sizes of this. So I can add in the image, and it's not going to, stretch and look all weird when I do, as much as it would in the header portion. Don't ask me why. It's just kind of how it seems to work in there. I'm not sure it's not going in there. Did I select it? I don't think yeah, I did. There we go. So now it's in there. Again, we can preview it and see below as we scroll down, shows you all these listings. So this one actually is stretch. Interesting. Actually also a very large image. So if we go up, we can, again, edit that image. We can, again, if we want to keep it those same sizes, then just to be safe, just in case. And in this case, it's a very large image because it's a banner that goes on one of the larger websites. So it is definitely a lot bigger. We can go and do that and then preview it, and it should be fitting in there how it should be if it uploaded. There we go. So there, it's in the bottom there. And again, you can have hyperlinks in here. So if you have images or social media, different things like that, you can definitely throw those in there and hyperlink them to those various social pages that you may have. Now I noticed that there is a question. Yeah, so Hassan, it is responsive. So Hassan is asking, what is the best dimension that is best for mobile too? Because it's responsive. So when I'm going in and we look at that, as we're in here and we're checking on the image, we're indicating that it's responsive image, right? So responsive means it is going to be responsive on mobile as well. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that. The 650 is more so that it's going to fit, period, whether it's on your desktop or mobile device. So it's presented to the public just exactly the way that you want it to be. So that's something I like to just show people. A lot of people don't know that that's there. Again, you would make sure that you save your changes. You can always reset back to the original if you mess something up. And if you are running into difficulties with this, our support team can definitely help you out with those changes. And again, you do have that ability with the sold, again, to be able to edit the sold listings, a little bit different if you wanted them to. Yes, you can change. So Sabrina's asking, can you change the text? So you can change only the text in the subject. You cannot change the text in here because I think it's more so to protect yourself from making an edit that could essentially, remove certain links that are necessary to be there, that sort of thing. So you can't change what the content text actually says, just the email subject itself in there. Perhaps they'll allow you to make edits like that down the road. It's not something that has been, I guess, frequently requested by individuals, to say the least. So, but a lot of it, I imagine, is to also protect you from accidentally making some mistakes with some of the links and connectivity, because there's a lot of that goes into these emails for tracking and what have you. Now, I knew that there was a question here. So Sabrina is also asking, how do you see all the tasks that you've created? All right, so when you create a task in the system, there is the task overview section, and that's over here on the left-hand side. So we go into the overview section and we click on tasks. We're able to see all the tasks in the system. So we're able to see the time frame, so we can filter these out. These are today and overdue, what kind of status they're currently in, how we want to sort them, who the task is assigned to as well. Now, you do also have advanced options, because again, sometimes the task is assigned to somebody else, but the lead owner is actually different. So if I had a lead, let's say, and I had a mortgage agent, and I created a task for my mortgage agent to follow up, I'm able to kind of sort through all of those tasks, like who's the lead owner that has given these tasks to this other individual to accomplish and complete. Now that we are in here, and whether we're filtering or however we're filtering out, you can perform mass actions as well. So if we go to the mass actions when we're selecting, so if I wanted to select, a few of them, or a couple of them, just as an example, I can push these tasks at the same time. So maybe they're both due today and I want to push them to tomorrow. I can mark them as completed. I can delete them, or I can assign to an in progress, meaning that is now in progress. So we're kind of updating the status of those tasks. Now that we are on, so I'll just delete those two, you can see that they disappeared. Now that we are actually on the whole discussion of tasks, this right here is a reason why. And again, this is a training CRM, so it's obviously going to happen in here. There's no action in the task. We always just create them for demonstration. But often enough, when I jump into a system where somebody is utilizing tasks, this is what I encounter. I see a list of ton of tasks. Some maybe not this much. I've actually seen more. I've seen a lot less. But in most cases, they're all overdue. Okay, it's very seldom that somebody is on their tasks on a regular and daily basis. So when we're working our leads, we find it that it's very, we feel like we're accomplishing somebody by tasking them, right? So we do it, we task and follow up, that's stuff. We have filters for that. You have tags for follow up. There's so many different ways that we can utilize and utilize the system for specific things like follow-ups without using the tasks. Tasks you want to stand out. Right, we want these tasks to stand out to us because they're important. These are leads that have earned a spot in our calendar. So maybe they are part of a follow-up filter, but this person here, you definitely don't want them to slip through the cracks. Task them on as well as using the filters and things like that for your follow-up. Or it's something specific, right? You have to follow up with them with respect to a certain appointment that they had. That falls outside of, again, your regular follow-up schedule. We really want these to stand out to us. Otherwise, they go in here. And again, tasks are much longer to action and complete than using a filter in the first place. So it does take you a little bit longer to action your tasks than if you would just go through a filter and go through those lists that way as well. Now, kind of on the other subject as well, is you do have the ability with our system to integrate your account if you have a Google account or a G Suite. And what that does is when you do create a task in the system, that task also creates a calendar event in your Google Calendar. So if you're an online calendar user, that's a great way to receive push notifications or in their calendar, your calendar, but also it's going to also prevent you from going task heavy, because your whole calendar, if you start doing that, is just going to be tasks every day, all day. Now in here, how you integrate, we would go into our user preferences. And all you're doing, mine shows different because I have my screen resolution, but you're going to just go into the integrations. So you go into the integrations tab, and then you scroll down, and you're going to be able to sync with your Google account. Now, if in the case that you go in, maybe you have already integrated, we can see there's a green dot here, and this one here is red, which means that my original integration date was, you can see it here, but it's now expired. I haven't updated it, that sort of thing. You can just refresh it. When you refresh it, it's just going to ask you to log in and reset those permissions. Now, in addition to these tasks showing up in your Google Calendar, each of those calendar events will have a direct link to the lead within that task. They'll have the title of the task and the details pertaining to it as well. So that's also where, if you are creating tasks, and leave yourself details, that you have all that information right in front of you. You're not having to go through past notes or things like that to figure out why you're following up with this person if you're somebody that creates a lot of tasks. You do also, for finding tasks, have your calendar up here. Okay, so one of the things when we have this Google integration and we go to the calendar is not only does it, tell your system here of all, or your lead tasks in here go into your Google, all your Google events will also be showcasing in here as well. So anything that's associated with the Google account that you have will pull through and showcase in here as well. Obviously, you can't action those events in here. You can see what they are. You can't modify or edit the events that are Google events. But that's another way to kind of look at your week ahead, what's kind of planned as far as tasks that may be sitting in your system. Now, when you do have your tasks, another way to get notified is through email, right? So when we go into the system, up into your user preferences, you have a lead alert section right here. So this lead alert section, when we look at it, you have this receive daily reminders about tasks. So you're just going to want to make sure that that's toggled on. When it is toggled on, you're then going to, tell the system, what task do I want to be reminded of? By default, we set it as, not started, in progress, or waiting on somebody else. So that is generally where you would want to get notified, unless you're somebody that, you want to keep track of all your tasks that get completed that day or closed, that sort of thing. But these are the ones that we essentially still need to action and do that. And then if we scroll down, just make sure that we're saving those there. This also brings in, I believe we touched on these lead alerts not long ago, but these are a great way for you to stay on top of your leads and with respect to their activity, giving a reason to jump in. So when we have the alert here, so yes, this one here, you definitely want to get notified when a lead registers or gets assigned to you. 100%, you want to know when that happens. You choose how you get notified, okay? So whether you only want an email, an SMS, or both email and SMS. Now this one here, most people will have it on no. If you sign up with us, it defaults to no. And then some people will have it on select leads only, which means that you can pick and choose which leads you're getting notified about. This one here, if you have it on yes, this should be something that is then part of your morning routine or daily routine, because every time one of your leads goes back onto your website after 4 hours of not being on there, you're getting an alert letting you know that they're active. Now, for some, like maybe you only have a handful of leads right now, so it's very manageable. Others have thousands of leads in their system, so you can imagine the number of notifications that could be coming through on a daily basis. And if we're not acting or doing something with those notifications, then they just become so redundant. We stop looking at notifications and all the other notifications that you're getting. You start to overlook them because it just becomes one big, inbox of notifications. The alert when they look at a property 3 or more times, this is something that we do suggest that you have, because it allows you to be a little bit more proactive with your leads. So if you're noticing, people's standard behavior is somebody typically looks at a property maybe once or twice, right? If they're looking at the property 3 or 4 or 5 times, and of course, it's also connection to how many images are on the listing too. That generally kind of indicates that there may be some level of interest in that property, right? So if we're getting notified about that, that gives us a reason to reach out to that individual, whether it's through the system, and again, I can show you guys how to do that, through the system, like through the actual viewing activity and sending them an email, or even just reaching out to them and seeing, checking in on them. Alert when they like a property, again, kind of same as above, but if somebody's sitting there liking listings and it's a lead, generally speaking, that could mean that this lead is a little bit closer to a purchase than somebody that is like 2 years out, right? I kind of look at behaviors. If it was yourself, would you be liking listings if you had no intentions of moving for another 3 years? Probably not. Right, so there's a reason why they're doing it. It's almost like they're bookmarking those listings that they like. So again, that's another good alert that you would want to have on. When they become active after 30 days of inactivity, right? So often enough, our leads kind of fall off. They stop looking at listings. They all have different motivations, and that's fine. But to get notified when they become active again is just another trigger for you to connect, because there's a good chance that potentially you haven't tried connecting with them during the previous period because of inactivity. So another reason to kind of reach out to those individuals. Unsubscribing from email, so letting you know when somebody does unsubscribe. This is, again, to follow up with the individuals. It's a great customer service opportunity to reach out to them, that you recognize that, I want, valuing their business and their feedback as to what caused them to unsubscribe so you can improve on it, right? So that's kind of more of a customer service angle. But you're also then kind of figuring out and learning about this person. Maybe they did already purchase, or maybe they've just put things on hold temporarily for whatever reason. Maybe they already found something, or it's just there's so many different reasons why some people don't even realize they didn't mean to actually fully unsubscribe from everything. Now you do this again, you can also bring them back in. So maybe they don't need the listing emails anymore, but they're okay with being in your system. Maybe like the periodic newsletter, statistics, things like that, they're okay with receiving. So great, it gives you that opportunity as well to resubscribe somebody into your system, or potentially send them listings, but maybe less frequent, right? Okay, well, I can scale back those listings. Maybe I can get them to you whatever, once a week or once every 2 weeks. That way you're still able to check them periodically, but we're not, your inbox isn't going to get jammed daily with listings you're not ready to action yet. This here again is this qualifying questionnaire. So again, on the website, when they answer those questions and they're tagged automatically, this is again just letting you know that somebody has completed it in there. Now, again, that most will have it as email, so the lead is created. You're getting the email about that they saved the search, and that they completed the questionnaire. All that information is clearly visible on the lead, but some people like to know beforehand, checking and being a little bit proactive with that information there. So again, anytime we are, doing anything in here, is just making sure we change, and all of those actions, you do have the ability to edit how you get notified. Now, when we scoop back to, again, when the lead likes a property, or let's say looks at it 3 or more times, how you can use the system, and we may have touched on this before, but could be people in here as well that haven't seen this, is down into the lead activities. This was not a good one because they have not looked at any listings. So this one here. So let's pretend it's this one here. I am going to just not be unsubscribed for a moment. So again, this is our snapshot of what our lead has been doing. It's up to date in real time. So if I was active right now, it's going to let you know that I was active right now. Lets us know how many properties the lead has looked at, the types of properties, and the location. So it gives you just that little snapshot. This snapshot is really all you need to know to call a lead. So when you have a lead come in, this is all we really need to know. Hey, Crystal, I noticed that you're checking out some detached homes for sale in the Oshawa area. right? So how many times they're looking at listings, how frequently they're looking at, that's irrelevant. This is all we need to know to open up a conversation. When we go into the more details, though, it's giving us a better visual on that activity. Now, this property sold, but in any case, when they're looking at listings here, you're able to see the timestamp of when they last viewed it, how many times they viewed the property, and the number of photos. Now, again, this is a sold, so this person looked at a sold property that was sent to them, so it gives you that information as to what it was listed at and what it actually sold for in here. Now, you cannot select sold listings to send to somebody back to them. You just can't do that. Not sure why, but you just cannot. So let's try to find somebody that actually has listings being sent to them that perhaps I can select. So these are terminated, rented. Okay, so here's one right here. So let's pretend that this property was looked at multiple times, or they like the property. Again, you can select listings to send. You're going to select one or more properties. So if there's like a few properties that show promise, possible promise, you can select more. In this case, there's only one I'm able to select on here. If you're using Twilly, you can send a text message to them when it is a solo property. It just has this long URL of the whole listing. Again, you can add to this. So if you wanted to, push that down and add a little thing, hey, Crystal, just noticed that you like this property, right? Whatever you want to say, they're going to get a text message about it. Otherwise, you can customize an email. So the great thing when you are customizing an email is when it's a solo property, this is going to allow you to really showcase that property. So when you're sending one, it's kind of bringing it really back to their attention as to the listing that you're referring to. Now, up here, you do have the ability to add your content, whatever it is that you want to say. You do have formatting options now. So you can really make it stand out, like larger font, add some color in there, just so that it stands out on property, because you'll see it right here. So whatever you write in this box right here is actually going to showcase in this field right here. Of course, it'll expand the more that you write it, the larger your font. But it's just another way, like, hey, Crystal, I noticed that you like this listing. Can I get you any more information about it? Again, just being proactive and trying to get those leads to respond to us. You do have the ability to edit the subject of these emails as well. Again, solo property is going to default to the listing address, but you can change it, get creative in there. Now, in a case where we had, this one here, we only have one that we could send out currently, but let's say I had two that I selected. When you select more than one property, when we go and create that email, the email presentation is going to be similar to your day-to-day emails that are going out to them with listings, with the addition of you being able to edit the subject and, again, adding the custom note on there as well. So you'd be able to add it. So the top portion would kind of, check out these lists. This isn't going to be specific to one property, but you have that ability, again, to say, hey, notice that you like these properties. Would you like to arrange a tour? Do you have more questions? Whatever it might be to be proactive with leads. You cannot send a text message when you're selecting multiple because there's no just direct link when it comes to that. So Shabana is saying they will be sent the listing, MLS listing, by doing this step. Yes. So these are listings that they have already viewed on the website. So if they're on the website and they're browsing listings, so I wonder if there is a, let's pretend I'm looking at this one and I go onto the website, I want to look at these properties. Okay, I want to look at these properties here. The system is tracking this. This one's been rented. But as I'm going on the website, they're getting these listings. These listings are being sent to them, and then you're getting notifications based on, let's say, their viewing behavior on here, right? So this one here, max rent, I'm going to take that off. So if even I was like clicking on this one and go into the listing, look at all the photos. Maybe I like this property. So all of that is going to show. So these are listings then that these people are receiving. And if I refresh this, we're going to see that he's active. So when I go through the email, it's going to show that I was just active. and we can go in there. We can now see that there is that new activity in here. Right. So this is, again, listings that they've looked at on your website already because you're sending them to them, or it could even be on their first visit to your website. They go on there, they're looking at properties, but these are properties that have been previously viewed on your website, whether it was their initial visit there or you sent them this listing. Otherwise, with your automated site, any lead that's coming to your website is automatically set up to receive listings, right? So you're able to receive those listings on a regular basis, right? So they're receiving those listings regardless. Anyone that signs up on your automated site is receiving listings from you. So they're already receiving those. Hassan is asking to send a listing via SMS. Do we need to have Twilio or can we use our phone service? You need to have Twilio for that feature. You can't, because it's connected, it's sending it through the system when you're doing that. So Twilio is a must to be able to send the SMS with the link to the listing. So no, you shouldn't. So if you're running lead gen, you're having, Shabana, we'd have to look at your system. But you should, let me just see, I'm just going to pull it up on the side here. Just to see kind of what you have, because you could be having individuals that aren't currently receiving listings. So every person that is coming to your website based on the services that you have with us is receiving listings from you. So if you're going and taking them outside and resetting them up on an alternate, whether it's Stratus or Matrix or whatever it is, you're now sending these people 2 emails of all the same properties just from 2 different sources. The benefit of sending the listing through here is the activity. We're able to track and manage our leads and our clients all in one place, rather than having to jump from system to system to try to look to see what they're doing. But you have that full ability in here to modify somebody's criteria or create their criteria in here. So you do have, I can see that you are a TREB member, all the filters. I can see that you raised your hand, so I will allow you to talk if you feel like your question is better asked verbally.
Yes, hi Crystal. You know what? So anyone who views my views, I get a notification that they have viewed a property for 3 times. I learned from this from Tara. Perhaps I'm doing it incorrectly. So I go into my MLS system and send them the MLS listing with the full details.
And you can do that, but you have the ability to just do it in here.
Okay.
Right.
So they're getting the MLS listing.
Like it's going to be pretty much all the same details, right? So when they're looking at a listing on here, obviously it's presented differently, but they have, all the history, so they can see the pricing history on here as well, which is a benefit if they're kind of looking to see how maybe that property has been escalating in price over the years. They can obviously see the description, the location, the general information with respect to all of that. When we go into details, for example, when we're going down here, you have all of the property details, right? So we have the interior details, exterior, so anything that's on the actual MLS listing is pulled and dumped into here.
This will make life much easier.
Yes, it's reducing a step that you didn't have to take. That's all. But yeah, I'm happy that it will help you. And then of course it does have like the rooms as well, whatever has been uploaded by the agent on there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So now you don't have to make extra steps for yourself. That's good. That's good. But yeah, so it's just another great way when we're in here to be able to, send listings to somebody and with respect to those viewing behaviors to try to trigger some level of response from them that, or it could be an active client, right? So some people will use it. So, you know what, I'm going to be sending you listings, the ones that you would like me to get some more information or you feel like, might be worth taking a look at, just like them. Right? Then you're getting a notification when your clients are liking the listing. So you have a list of properties to kind of look through to prepare for those showings or maybe gather some more information about them or kind of review them and say, you know what, Shabana, we can go look at this property, but based on everything that you told me, you know, these items aren't on your must-have list that this property does not have. Are you still wanting to go look at it, right? So just different things like that you can utilize the features in here to stay on top of your leads or your clients that are in here.
Perfect.
Yeah. So the hand, yeah. So in here is also Sabrina is saying, so actually Hassan first is just asking, can we integrate our phone services in any way? Not really. Okay. So the only way that you can integrate your phone is through the CRM app. Okay. So that's when you're like on the go and you want to call or text the lead, but it's not calling or texting from the CRM. It's calling through your mobile device, right? So when you go to call a lead through the app and you say, okay, use my mobile device, it'll call and connect through your mobile carrier. It logs the call in the system. So it did happen. It's recognizing that you called that person. But nothing, there's no recording. Same for the text message. You can choose to send a text message from your mobile carrier. But again, that text message is on your phone. It's not in the CRM system. So there's no back and forth communication on that to track it. But yeah, so Sabrina is saying the handpicked listings is great. So that's another great tool as well. And maybe it could be an individual. I'm just going to zoom out just so you can see it a little bit differently. So right here is a handpicked. Okay, so you can do this for an individual. You can also do this in a mass action. Okay, so when we do the handpicked listing, so maybe I'm working with Jason and I know some properties that I want to send to him specifically that he should be looking at. When we click on this, again, depending on your board, if you have this option available, but we're just adding the filters. So whether it's, you know, you're putting in criteria, or in many cases, perhaps you have the MLS numbers of those properties, you do have the ability to throw in MLS numbers. So if we go into this one here, I can pull the MLS from here just to kind of show you guys. You just throw it in there. It adds it in there, so you can add multiple. If you have multiple, when we go apply filter, it's then going to show us, or should, oh, it might be for rent. This one for rent? Yes, that's for rent, that's why. That's why, that one's for lease. So we hit apply, there we go, there's the property. So again, if you were having multiple, they're all gonna be here. And then we would select every single one that we want to be sending to that person. So if you're, you know, if you put in 5 MLS numbers, you're going to select all 5 listings. And then you could customize. So if you want to just send them the listings with no customization, like nothing added to it, you can definitely do that. Or you can customize like in the previous, where we can then, you know, change the subject. You know, here's my handpicked listings, or here, you know, Shabana, look at these properties here. I think we should maybe go take a look at them. But you can write whatever you want again about those properties. And then when, again, it's the multiple listings going out, there will be several. So if I just to show you what that looks like, if I was to select, you know, just a few couple here, I can customize that email. Again, the subject's going to be looking kind of like how it would normally go out. And then same with the listing email. Right, so we have that listing email. We can then add that custom note, make it stand out. You know, hey, I handpick these listings. Now, another creative way that you can utilize the handpicked is in the mass actions. So I'm going to leave. I don't want to change those things, to save those changes. So in the mass actions, zoom back in, you have that ability to send like handpicked. So let's say I have these 2 people, I want to send them specific, like these are my weekly top picks in whatever city, right, for listings. Maybe you went and previewed them with your brokerage. Maybe you went in an open house or went and viewed it with another client. You're like, wow, I know several people would be interested in this home. You can do the same idea where your handpicked listings, again, putting in whatever criteria criteria that you're wanting to filter out the properties, selecting whatever ones. And again, you can send and customize them an email to somebody, say, hey, this is this week's top picks for listings in there. So just another creative way to send them listings outside of the regular search, but kind of bringing attention to various listings, whether it's price points, locations, whatever it is, right? To just get creative and make those specific listing emails stand apart. Now, let me just see. So I think, Hassan, you're asking to help providing a basic template to listing criteria for searching for condos. So basically, like what I'm thinking is what you're asking is like having a default save filter that you could just apply to individuals or select it. So it just kind of creates that initial foundation. Is that kind of what you're looking for? Because there is no default way in our old system. You used to be able to apply a save filter. These leads here, though, unless again you wanted to blanket a bunch of them that are looking for condos to receive all of the same listings, you cannot. The only way that you can do that, Hassan, is through running a Facebook campaign, but it's the same idea. So if you're running a Facebook campaign, and just to kind of briefly touch on this, in your Facebook integration, when you're running a Facebook campaign, you get to select the criteria of the listings that are going out. So if I go into this one here, for example, we can be very specific as to everyone that signs up through that Facebook form, that lead form, exactly which listings that they're getting. So anyone coming in has this set foundation of the requirements. But again, to be doing that, we would be drawing in people that are specifically looking for that on Facebook, right, as to why they click that ad. So if they're looking for example, like this one here, I think it was like, if you wanted to do a home in Toronto with a pool, right? So running an ad like that. So you're already presetting all that criteria, that it has to be in Toronto with a pool, or it could be, looking for a home in Brampton with a basement apartment. Again, you could do the same idea. You're putting in all the requirements of the listings for somebody that's signing up on that ad. We're kind of presetting it for them. But that's the only way that you can do it. Right now there is, and I know it has been brought up in the past by other individuals, so I don't know if it's on the radar. I'm not sure if and when they would give that ability to do so, to have it so that you can apply a basic or standard safe search. I feel like that would be more applicable to individuals that you're manually adding into your system, right? Because if we're adding into people that are already set up to receive listings, generally the criteria is based around what they would be looking for. So we wouldn't want to just kind of take that away and tell them like, here, I have this pre-saved one. So I feel like that would be more of something that either on import or manually adding leads, that having a standard safe search that could be created for them. That would be something that I reach out to support. Again, it could be production, could be, having it on their backlog of things to do. I'm just not sure. I know it has been brought up in the past, and I know our previous system had that ability to create pre-saved searches that you can just apply to individuals that you may be adding in there. That's just that blanket. But yeah, that's just like the Facebook. So that's another way. So if you guys are, whether you're paying Agent Locator because, it's not your thing, which is 100% okay, or maybe you are familiar and you have a thorough understanding of how to create ads on Facebook, then by all means, you have the ability to create them and get the listings. When you do things right away, the minute that somebody signs up on Facebook, hit submit, that listing email's in their inbox. Like, it is crazy fast. So it's another great way as well, if you guys kind of, start to learn Facebook or learn those marketing, creative marketing, is even when you have a listing. So I know a lot of agents like to showcase and share their listing. you can do it where people are learning more, sign up, to receive, more information about this home. So someone gives you their information, let's say, the lead gets created, and then you can set them up on a campaign automatically. So maybe the first action in that campaign is an email with all the property information, right? Like here, hey, thanks for, requesting information about 123 whatever street. To make it convenient for you, here's, you can add the images, whatever, or you can send them to your website to look at that property, whatever floats your boat. But you can also tell them that, what, I've also set you up to receive similar priced homes and types of homes in that neighborhood or in that area, just in case this property isn't exactly what you're looking for. So then again, we're generating a lead that's interested in our listing, but we're not kind of cutting, it as a dead stop there. We're now setting them up to receive listings from us regularly. If you are doing something like that, you would toggle this off. So by sending listings right away, what happens is the listings go out as soon as the person signs up, right? If we go send listings right away, no. Okay, so it allows you, so if you have, and they're inquiring about something else first, you're at least getting them what they requested and fulfilling that offer, and then getting them the additional information after. That's all that does. They're still going to get listings. It's just not going to be instant in other ways. So that's something that, again, if anyone is familiar with creating Facebook ads, that get creative and kind of using campaigns. I find that anyone that does have marketing or does do that is just setting it up once, because you can clone campaigns. It's, you just go through the steps each time when you do that. That's a whole other tutorial or webinar is running Facebook and setting and showing you guys how that all works. And for most, it's a lot. It's overwhelming because there's a lot of steps involved if it's not something that you're 100% familiar with. Now, another key feature. So as we were kind of talking on, the filtering out leads based on or getting alerts. So filtering your leads and reaching out to them, I should say, with respect to their listing views, 3 or more times, liking a property, you're getting the alerts for that. You also have the ability to use filters in here to also find those people as well. Okay, so if you happen to be someone that has the alerts and they weren't on, you can still find them. So if we go into the add filter item, I'm just going to start typing likes. So lead last liked property, right? So here we don't have an option to change anything, but then we're selecting the criteria of this. So let's say I want to do this in the last 7 days. Last week here, I want to see anyone that has liked a property, favorited that listing. So you can see there's just that one that I like today in here. So again, it allows us to say, hey, I'm going to go check out these people and look at those listings that they liked and be a little bit proactive. You do also have the ability, again, to pull up people based on their viewing 3 or more times. Again, you cannot change this one, but you're allowing you to change this time frame. So again, if I want to default this, within the last 7 days, you can see if anyone looks at a listing 3 or more times if you haven't in here. But you can play around with this. Your system's obviously going to be different than the training system, but it allows you, again, to just pull up individuals based on that viewing behavior. So there's one person last month that viewed a property 3 or more times. So again, you can go through each one of those, see what that viewing behavior looks like, if the property is still available, that sort of thing, and be proactive with it. Details, yes. Okay. Perfect. So, yes, Hassan, I saw the email go out, and I will call you right after this. Was there any more questions that I can ask? We've got about 10 minutes left here. Was there anything that anyone wants to know how to go about doing, where to find something? You do have a lot of tutorials and resources is what I'm looking for in your system. So just kind of walking through and just reminding people that this little question mark here, this actually showcases tutorials and how-tos reflective of where you're currently positioned. Okay, so I'm on the main screen right now. So when I click on this, it's going to pop up and populate anything that I can really do from the main screen. So this one here is, welcome to your dash, how to math, some math actions, because again, that's all what you would do from the main screen here. So as we navigate, and let's say sources, I'm on sources. Let's see if it's on sources. When we go to there, the videos in here on how to create lead sources and apply to your contacts. So again, they're all reflective of where you're currently positioned in the system. So that's a great resource for a lot of individuals. You do also, and I believe we discussed this a couple times ago, I'm gonna go scroll out to see it, is you do have this little hat. So this is, again, the lead conversion or the basic CRM. So the basic CRM is tutorials, so step by like how-tos on there, like of the different features in your system. The lead conversion is a compilation of several different topics for when you are reaching out to your leads. So, the mindset, when you should be calling, the frequency of your calling, how to handle objections, opening up conversations, different things like that that are going to help you to better communicate with your leads, essentially. These, of course, there's no cost to you. They're on our ad semi, so you may have an account on there already. Some of you may not have an account on there. Now, this heart here, again, it flashes whenever there's been an update in the system that you have not reviewed yet. So when you do click on it, it brings you to the resources page. Lets you know the most recent release right here. You can pull up that article and see what's happened there. But ultimately, it does bring you to our training site. So you're able to see that we're on the training site here. You do have this right here. This is what we're on right now. It just automatically pops up. But you do have, your webinars. So the webinars that you're able to sign up for, the live dial is kind of just a brief one there. They're all in the upcoming webinars regardless. And then when we go to the homepage, there is some tutorials in here. So this is all your tutorials, the CRM, the how-tos. This one here is on your website editor. Okay, so that one there. This one here is kind of like a guide. So similar to what you would see in there, just a little different of approach of like using filters and why, what questions should we be asking, just stuff like that to kind of help you work your leads. On this, as well as just kind of getting started. I think we send this to our clients when we're starting to run ads for them. We don't fully show you, I don't believe in here, I'm going to check how to set it up. It's just kind of more of, some different things like that you can access. So ads, images, right? So you can go, so it's just inference. It doesn't actually show you, there's no step-by-step process of integrating with Facebook. I don't know if we have in here, if I go to the Facebook, they might be, you can add your Facebook account, feed leads into your CRM. So kind of walk you through, but it's not the whole ad creation, so to speak. I find that, okay, so Susanna's just saying, I find that the resources that the tech support shares under their signatures, yes. They are very helpful when they have those, and they're there because they're typically things that people are often asking for and being referred to, right? So that way they know that and can ensure that everyone's getting those, whether they're asking for them or not. It's kind of the primary reason that those are there. Any more questions that we can answer before we can go today? Before we go today, I should say. Perfect. Well, again, these sessions are built for you guys, so they are like the Q&A. I like to kind of start off somewhere, but again, as you guys pop in here, you're going to definitely find that there's more like, how do I do this? You don't necessarily have to book a full training just to have, one question asked. So sometimes some people will jump in here, ask their question, then get out. Really depends. Everyone is different, but again, come with your questions on how to, and if you're available on Mondays. And again, if you have your questions that you want the answers to, you can also email them to me, and I'll make sure that I'll cover them in the next webinar. So even if you're not able to make that webinar, you'll know that it will be in the recording that I went through those. And it's also a great way for me to start the webinar. Perhaps others will also ask questions that are in relation to that topic as well. But thanks everyone for hopping on and participating in today's webinar. We will be back again next week to come with your questions or send them off to me beforehand, and we will go from there. Thanks again, and everyone enjoy the rest of your week.